Hello, everyone in the Author Your Life community. It's good to see you. It's good to speak with you again. I recognize that I haven't been speaking with Author Your Life in the community that much recently. Pretty much everything Author Your Life based has been in the Author Your Life Academy and with the Author Your Life podcast for the past few months with all of the COVID craziness that's been going on. So my apologies for not being as vocal and as interactive as I usually am and as I like to be. And today I want to take the opportunity to come out of this interaction isolation, if you like, and talk about something that's really important that's going on right now. And I haven't said too much about it because I've really been trying to work out what to say. And this, of course, is the Black Lives Matter movement. This is all of the riots and I don't want to use the word riots, protests, all of the protests and the attention and the awareness that has been on race issues and police injustice in the past. It's only been a couple of weeks, but it seems like a whole lot longer, doesn't it? And I've been working out what to say because I recognize I'm a flipping white dude in all of this. I have white privilege. And I wanted to think about what was a meaningful thing that I could add to this interaction. Because I certainly feel, and I think that other people right now are feeling that, it's all very well a bunch of white folks sitting around and saying how terrible all this is. But actually, what does that do to change the situation? What does that do to help? What does that do to make things better? Hi, Deborah. Thank you for joining me today for this discussion. And I wanted to do more than just a token hashtag or post a Martin Luther King quote on social media because it doesn't do anything. And I know obviously it's good to raise awareness of these things and it's good to show your support of these things, but ultimately I always want to do something that I feel is proactive and useful and actually implements and creates some kind of change. We've got Daniel joining. Hello, Daniel. Daniel, you have been very vocal on this recently, so I'm sure you'll enjoy this conversation. So I was thinking, well, what can I do with my skills, with my position, with my audience to make some kind of meaningful impact on this discussion, on this awareness, and on this movement? And I think I've come up with an answer, actually. I have a project that I'm going to be announcing in due course, in Author Your Life. It won't be coming out for a couple months, but I'll be able to announce it very soon once I've got the details finalized. And this is something that I think is going to help provide a meaningful input into this whole discussion, the whole awareness of the situation right now. But before I tell you about that is all to come in the future. I just want to share with you something that I was thinking about yesterday. Actually, I was out on my my daily walk has become the habit during this lockdown period, and I was actually listening to a podcast. It was someone sharing their thoughts on Black Lives Matter, and it was another white dude. So it's nice to hear, well, what can us white dudes actually do and actually say in this conversation? And there was mention of privilege. And this is something that I have become more aware of in the last couple of weeks than I actually think I ever have in my life. And for me, from a personal point of view, this is something that I'm going to take from everything that's going on, is recognizing just what that means a little bit more. Because I think intellectually I'd understood what white privilege meant, but I've really started to grasp it in a contextual and an emotional way in the last couple of weeks. And what I want to say for those of you who are tuning in and watching this, for the people I've seen coming in so far, you guys are white. You guys have white privilege. And what I'm saying is that we shouldn't, or at least I don't think, that we should be getting down on ourselves and criticizing ourselves for having white privilege. Because ultimately, you can only work with the hands that you are dealt. And for many of us, we were dealt a very fortunate hand. I know I was dealt a very fortunate hand in life. I was born as a white heterosexual male. There's pretty much no discrimination that I have ever faced or likely will ever face in my life. I went to a school where the question was not, can you go to university? Should you go to university? Are you going to university? But which university are you going to? And to be honest, if it isn't a Russell Group university, kind of the equivalent of, I guess, the Ivy League schools here in the UK, if it's not a Russell Group university, then we're not hugely concerned about helping you or investing in you for wherever you go in life. So I recognize that I had a great hand. I was dealt the ace and the king for the poker hand. Not the best hand in the world, but one of the best hands in the world, that's for sure. And yes, I had to put in the work and I had to make things happen in order to go to university, but that was an opportunity that was available to me as long as I put in the work. And many people don't have that opportunity. It doesn't matter how hard they work, they can't get that type of opportunity, or they have to be incredibly fortunate to get that type of opportunity. Hello, Karen Parker. Thank you for joining us today. And what I want to really emphasize in this live that I'm doing today is use the hands that you are dealt. So if you are someone who has been born with white privilege, if you're someone who has opportunities that other people aren't given, if you're someone like myself who's been lucky enough to get some kind of audience and some kind of following, use that. Use the hands that you are dealt. Because ultimately, if you're dealt the ace and the king, but you fold, if you don't play the hand, you might as well not have been dealt that ace and the king. And maybe somebody else would have really appreciated that ace and the king, and somebody else could have used that hand that you chose not to use. They could have used those opportunities that you weren't willing to take on and to take forth and take advantage of. So if you are someone who maybe feels a little bit guilty about white privilege just now, and I think some of us are feeling this way, don't feel guilty about it. Use it. Use the hand that you are dealt, because there is always someone out there who wishes they had your hand. There's always someone out there who, if they had your hand in life, they would use it and do something fantastic with it. So this is really just my rallying call to you today, that if you are in any kind of position to offer any meaningful input and support to the issues that are being talked about just now, do it. If you're looking for meaning and purpose in life, this is something that you can do right now. And I assure you, there is nothing more meaningful and purposeful than being able to help and support and contribute to other people. And if you're using your white privilege in order to do that, then you're actually making the best of white privilege. White privilege shouldn't exist. I 100% say that. White privilege should not exist. But we have to work with the hands that we're dealt. And at the moment, we live in a world where white privilege exists. So although there are many bad aspects to this, I think there are a couple of aspects that you can use for yourself if you have it that are good. Take advantage of that. Use it. Because right now the Black Lives Matter movement, it needs white people. Because it's not something that will change just through black voices, although I think those are the voices we should be listening to right now. It also requires everyone else to get on board with it. Everyone else of different colors of skin to get on board with it, because ultimately this has to be a group effort. And for those of us who have white skin right now, we need to be involved in that effort as well. So whatever means you think you can be a part of that effort, if there's anything that you can do that's more meaningful than the social media hashtag, than the Martin Luther King quote on social media, do it. Because that's what the world needs. It needs those small pebbles dropped in the sea of change. So I'm going to leave you with that idea today, folks. Use the hands that you are dealt. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for engaging in this discussion. And as I said, keep your eyes on Author Your Life in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be announcing what my personal input and my project is going to be in this. Or should I say, it's not even mine, it's ours. And I'll give you perhaps a little clue as to what it might be. So thank you for joining me this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are tuning in live in the world. I hope this has given you some extra thought and some extra insight on how you can make the most of white privilege if you have it. At the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. If we have it, we have it. Use it for good. I'll speak to you later, folks.